Mama, I want more toy.
Hello everyone. Sorry if this video sounds a bit off. I've been dealing with really bad allergies recently. Like, it's fine now, but it's just taking the wind out of my sails. Like, I feel very low energy and mellow, and I'm hoping to get this video out on time. I don't want to not post this month, especially because I decided to come up with a brand new theme for this month. Last month was the month of April, and this month I want it to be the month of Megatron, or Maygatron as I'll call it. I'm hoping to post at least, one video a week for the entire month of May, all focusing on our lovely Decepticon ruler, Megatron. And also I wanted to clarify, no one said anything about this, but I realized when watching my video last week that I said ball joint instead of mushroom peg when referencing Sentinel's hands. I'm not sure why the fuck you would make it a ball joint. A mushroom peg would do the same thing, but better, especially considering it does nothing in the transformation, but that's a correction that isn't needed. But I thought someone would notice, and I want to say it now. But, onto the actual review. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're looking at the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Megatron, who's also known as D16 from the Transformers 1 movie. Now inside the box, you get the figure, fusion cannon, instructions, smaller arm cannon, that'll be part of the tank mode cannon, and these two smaller guns. We also have his backpack, which pegs into his back using this 5mm port. All of these ports and guns, except for the super small ones connected to his back, are blast effect compatible, which is great, except for the tiny guns, which is really annoying, because he has like these two little assault rifles attached to the main cannon, but they can't have a blast effect. Very strange, but overall, Megatron looks great and completely embodies the Transformers 1 design aesthetic with his long-legged soul. It's generally a good representation of the on-screen model, although some have noted that his torso is a bit short, though I think there's like a DNA design kit to fix that, if anyone really cares about that sort of thing. But much like his former friend Optimus Prime, the coloring here is like okay. It was definitely worse on Optimus, but this one here could use a bit more pizzazz. There's a nice like silver on his face and a bit on like the rest of his body, but overall it's like a gunmetal gray, which isn't bad, but everything in that movie was like super shiny, and it just sucks that they couldn't really get that across for this toy. I feel like there'll be like a premium redeco further down the line, like what they did for the War for Cybertron figures or something like that. But overall it's solid, and I gotta say that this toy's overall design is kind of interesting, not in like a terrible bad way, but like one thing to note is like the hands are tank treads and are very obviously tank treads, which makes posing him kind of awkward because from certain angles it just looks like his arm is completely vanished and there's just some, chopped up tread where his fingers should be. But speaking of posing, let's talk about articulation, because for a deluxe it's pretty good. The head is on the ball joint, but the helmet kind of limits its wiggle. But if you detach the backpack, you can allow for a lot more up and down. The shoulders are on a stemmed ball joint, which allows for about 90 degrees of upward movement and full rotation. Like, these cutouts do a lot of work to make sure that you can get whatever poses you want them to go into without interfering. We've got bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, which is part of the transformation as well, wrist swivel. There's also a waist rotation, and the hips are ball jointed, allowing for full motion in all directions, including the splits, though you might have to finagle a bit if you want him to actually do them, like twist the waist around possibly. There's a lot of locking and clicking that goes into his limbs, one of them being his knees, which have a tendency to like peg into these little tabs here, which aren't bad, but you have to constantly pop them if you want him to do any sort of normal looking pose. The ankles can rock downwards and forwards and side to side, along with a foot tilt and ankle tilt. As for the accessories, we got the fusion cannon, and it's an old design, classic Megatron design, despite the movie using like a new triple barrel look. I don't mind it. I really don't care about what kind of cannon he has, so long as he has one. The cannon pegs into his forearm, and we also get a smaller arm cannon that is featured at the end of the movie, which will become the barrel of his tank mode. There are also these aforementioned two smaller blasters, which plug into his little backpack here. You can obviously accessorize these cannons to your heart content. And the figure's back, like, people think it looks like a jetpack, which it kind of does. I see what they're talking about, but I always interpret it as just their back, like, I don't see it as like a backpack, at least not in like sole function, Like, it's directly correlated to his alt mode, so I guess I see it more for, like, why it's there more than what it looks like. But either way, like, transforming him into the alt mode isn't that difficult. It's actually pretty fun, you know, swinging the arms around and detaching the legs and spinning those around too. And the hinges on his thighs are pretty satisfying to crack open, like you're breaking his leg or something crazy like that. And then you get yourself a pretty cool looking tank mode, and pretty much represents its on-screen model perfectly. I mean, my main issue is the fact that if you turn the turret around, like, you could just see his head. The instructions say to peg it in his head like this, but I think that's stupid, so you should probably do it the other way. Like, just rotate it around. No one will care, but I think it looks very neat. The treads stick out in like a sort of sharp triangle formation sort of thing. I think it looks very nice. Like, some people complain about like certain tank modes, and I don't ever see it. Like, I'm a sucker for tank mode, like any tank mode, period. It's awesome. I love it. Give me more. I crave tanks, you know? But overall, I think this figure's worth picking up. Like, I saw him in a Walmart. I didn't want to buy him because the renders just really made his legs seem super long. But in person, it's not that noticeable. Like, it's not that egregious. The robot mode looks cool. He has some pretty good articulation for his size. And like I said, I love the tank mode. I think it's awesome. But what do you think of Studio Series Transformers 1 Megatron here? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.